Hello, this is www.spicyreads.org. I'm Ed Spicer. Today I am speaking with Stephanie Hemphill, whose new book, Wicked Girls, is out and worth purchasing. Thanks for stopping by.
Silent. Not even the twitter of insects. The wind stills against a distant sky of clouds. The cold is gray and fierce, bitter as a widow at the grave. The tree's bare bony fingers point crookedly toward heaven or hell, or worse than that, toward nowhere. Winter days wear long as the ocean shore, governed by a god harsher than windstorm hail and more punishing than the waves that break ships in two. There are rules to follow here. One righteous path thrashed down through the woods.
Tell our readers a little bit about Wicked Girls.
Wicked Girls is a novel of the Salem witch trials that is told from the perspective of three of the teen accusers who accused everyone of being witches in the town and became the most powerful people. Instead of being voiceless and kind of forgotten, which is usually the role of a teen Puritan girl, they became ultra popular.
Now, there were a lot of people accusing folks of being witches during this time period. Is Wicked Girls for a marketing ploy?
Well, the main mystery that still exists about the Salem witch trials is why did the teen girls accuse people of being witches? And there are a lot of theories about this. One is that they ate bad bread and there was a hysteria because of that. They got bird flu. There are psychological theories. There are biological theories. Those would be biological theories. And the main one that I went with is that the girls were faking it and that they actually knew what they were doing at some extent.
I do have a question. This story has so much going on in it, and these girls' stories are so complicated and so involved. What do you think poetry adds to this story that you couldn't do in, say, a regular novel about these three girls?
This book took many years in the making, and it was told from 7 girls' points of view at one point, but smartly we went back to 3. What first adds to it is that you get a different feel of time-space. And when it was done, the poems were kind of day by day with the trials, and so you needed a different sort of feeling of time passing because you'd skip a day, you'd go to this trial, to that trial, and that element of the book still served the storytelling very well. And it's also written in the language of 1692, and having less words on a line gives it a different patois, a different rhythm, that makes it easier to hear the voice of the girls. The line breaks also give you a faster or slower
How much time do you spend in deciding things like word choice or where the line should break?
Some of it comes very naturally, but usually I write everything longhand first.
No computer?
I don't use a computer, and not my first draft. None of my first draft is done on a computer. I revise into the computer, then I take it back out, write it in hand again, and then put it back into the computer. And some
Personal
of the line
human connection with your own work.
With my work, I have to do everything first with the hand. I spend a lot of time with line breaks and word choice, especially word choice, because I think it's really important how you end a line in poetry, where the end word sits, so that you can almost understand the meaning of the poem if you just looked at the last words of all the stanzas.
I'm sure you're always revising.
Always. This went through with an editor 7 revisions. That means on my own I did, at least 20.
A lot of our readers understand a little bit of the process. However, I don't know that they're necessarily aware of the fact that changes happen between the galley and the finished book. And I'm told that you have made many changes from the galley to the finished book.
Well, when you're doing a historical novel, you have copy editors who are fact-checking for you all the way up to the point and telling you that certain images you even picked in your poem would not theoretically still be possible, even if you did research on them, because global warming has changed stuff, or this is not exactly how in Shakespeare they would have said the thou, it would not have been placed this place in the sentence, all kinds of things. not just even historical facts, but language facts,
usage facts
language
for that
usage.
match the time period.
And then when they put things in a galley, or called an advanced reader copy, that comes out in a paperback before the book is released that reviewers use, with poetry they often break your stanzas where they're not supposed to be broken.
In other words, they break your poem.
They break your poem apart.
They ruin it.
Yeah, and then you get a choice with the typesetting. You can only put so many lines on a page. So I go back and I can re-change the stanzas so that they at least make poetic sense to me.
I imagine you're fairly pleased with this beautiful finished book.
I think they did a marvelous job, and I couldn't be happier.
How much time do you spend researching your subject versus how much time do you spend writing your book?
I would love to research my book forever because I love the research. But when I
Did you go to Salem, for example?
I did go to Salem, which is now the city of Danvers. And I read everything I can get my hands on. I went to the museum in Boston, the Fine Arts Museum, so I could look at actual artifacts from the period. Then I need to stand in the area that they were. I stood, and that's how I got the first poem.
Kind of related to your need to actually write it in longhand and revise it in longhand.
Because you can feel different things. The wind feels different. You stand there at the same time of year, for instance, that it's winter. You stand there, you see different things, and all of a sudden other images will come to me. That's my ideal. It doesn't always work out.
What's new in the writing world for you?
My book after that is going to be a contemporary book, and it's not going to be in poetry, and it's called The Good Girls.
It's going to be just a prose novel?
A prose novel.
Whoa.
Yes.
Breaking new ground. Are you going to do it in longhand?
Yes. I am. In fact, I will write it in longhand. But yeah, that just came up. I just got the okay to do that yesterday.
Whoa, that is.
And then I'm
cool.
going to do a book about Mary Shelley.
Oh,
Third.
my.
But I'm taking one little break off of historical fiction because that one I really want to have a lot of space to do. That will definitely be in verse because it's called The Lost Poems of Mary Shelley, and that's called Hideous Love.
Hideous Love.
Hideous
Cool.
Love, The Lost Poems of Mary Shelley.
Thank you so much for appearing once again on www.spicyreads.org. And please hold up Wicked Girls one last time so we can encourage all of our readers to go out and get this fabulous, well-reviewed book.
Thanks.
Hello, that was Stephanie Hemphill talking about Wicked Girls on www.spicyreads.org. I'm Ed Spicer. Thanks for stopping by.
My, that's a great picture.
Spicy by the photographer Spicy.
Spicy, huh?
Yes. I wonder who that could be.